the ticket to success. Let's talk about it on today's Walking in Wealth. Greetings and thank you for tuning in to Walking in Wealth. I am your host, JD Garnier, and you are listening to KKNO K75 AM and 107.1 FM radio in New Orleans. I hope you had a productive week in your wealth creation journey. And listen, my goal for this show is simple: to help you walk in wealth, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. To take the things that God has already given you and use them to create a life of purpose, so that wealth is much more than just what you acquire. Wealth is who you become. You are the wealth. Not your investment portfolio, not your real estate holdings, not your business. You are the wealth. And before you have any of those things, you have a unique and specific set of talents, abilities, gifts, ideas, inclinations, habits, and discipline that form the basis of any and everything that you do in life. And once you tap into that, you start your wealth creation journey. So again, you are the wealth. First things first, if you guys are not following me on social media, please follow me on Instagram at GarnierJD, Facebook at JD Garnier, and Twitter at JD Garnier1. And please subscribe to the Walking in Wealth YouTube channel. Also, if you need someone to inspire your team, galvanize your staff, or motivate your people, please call me for speaking engagements. No organization is too big or too small to add value or impact. If you have questions, concerns, ideas, thoughts, or you just want to talk through a personal situation based on the things that I talk about, please send me an email at jd@jdgarnier.com. That is jd@jdgarnier.com. We all want money, right? We need money for our wants and needs. But a lot of times we make the mistake of seeking money for its own sake. And that's what leads to our destruction. See, when you seek money for its own sake and it's not attached to anything deeper than that, then you skip steps. You skip the things that are required for that money to transform itself into wealth. Because see, money by itself is not wealth. The ownership and influence of resources by itself is not wealth. And when you seek money for its own sake, you are willing to skip steps in the process. Money is just a tool. Money is a byproduct of value. When you own something of value, when you create something of value, when you become something of value, money automatically attaches itself to it. And so when I make the proclamation that you are the wealth, it is because you are the original source of value creation. It starts and ends with what you do. And when you seek money for the sake of itself and not seek out how to create or own or become value, then you detach the tool from its purpose. You detach money from what it is intended for, and that limits your ability to earn it. Value creation starts and ends with you. I talk about it all the time. I've defined wealth. I've distinguished it between wealth and riches. We understand that wealth is the relationship between time and money, and the goal is to own things of value that increase in value without the requirement of your time, your labor, your effort. And there are 3 essential ways to build wealth: to buy assets, to create assets, and to become an asset. When you successfully become an asset, you build yourself into something that is greater than where you started. But to achieve that type of personal success, to become an asset, there are some specific personal character traits that are required. In order for you to make yourself as valuable as possible and thus attain success, there are certain requirements that you have to have built in to who you are. Now, I've talked about the wealth mindset and the way that you have to think. I've talked to you about ways to change your life that do not cost a thing, to help you put yourself in a position to become an asset. When you do those things the right way, you achieve success. And today I want to talk about the ticket to success. The ticket to success. What do you have to have in order to put yourself in position for success? You need the ticket. T-I-C-K-E-T. The first part, or the first requirement in the ticket to success, is time. You have to commit and put time into being successful. There was no shortcut to time. When you come into this world, regardless of what your circumstances are, you do not own assets. You have not created assets. You have nothing but your raw talents, abilities, and gifts. Unrefined, unmastered. And in order for you to master those things is going to require a certain amount of time dedicated to that. You have to be able to put in time. And we live in this microwave society where we want to skip steps. We want the end result as fast as possible. We don't want to wait for the ingredients to connect and to merge themselves to form the finished product. We want to get to the end result without putting in the time, but it's impossible. You have to dedicate time. And one of my favorite books by Malcolm Gladwell is called Outliers. And in that book, he talks about the idea of 10,000 hours. And the thought is to master anything. To master anything. I don't care if it is a sport. I don't care if it is computer programming. I don't care if it is engineering. I don't care if it's math. I don't care if it is sewing. I don't care if it is building things. Whatever it is, to master it, to truly master it, requires a minimum over your lifetime of 10,000 hours. And one of the things that he did in that book is he followed the lives of people in different industries and different professions, and he followed their success. And regardless of their background, regardless of their passion, regardless of what talents they were gifted with, what abilities they had, one thing remained consistent in his findings, and that was the amount of time that they put into developing themselves and developing their craft. And at a minimum, that was 10,000 hours over a lifetime. And one of the people that he followed was this group, was a singing group. And, they would perform. And in the beginning, they didn't really know what sound they wanted. They weren't really great at composing and putting together music. And they would perform at these hole-in-the-wall clubs week in and week out. And some nights they would get booed. And some nights people weren't really into what they were saying, but they were committed. They were committed to perfecting their sound, and they did it night after night, year after year, and no one really wanted to hear what they had to say. No one really wanted to buy into their type of sound, but they committed to it and they evolved over time, and they perfected different cues and they perfected different sounds, and they learned how instruments blended in with one another until eventually they had to develop their own unique sound and mastered how to communicate that to the crowd. And they became one of the biggest music groups in world history. And that's the Beatles. And the one consistent that he found was not that their sound was so great, not that their singing was so great, but they had committed the time to perfect their talents, abilities, and gifts. And then he followed this computer genius who at a very young age became enamored with computers and computer programming, and he would build computers and take them apart and build computers and take them apart, and he would program and reprogram and try this and try that, and he was just enamored with how these things worked. And he spent hours and hours every day learning this craft year after year after year after year, until he developed something that was so unique that it changed the world. And that person was Bill Gates. And over that span of years, he dedicated over 10,000 hours to becoming an expert, to mastering his craft. And now he's one of the richest men to ever walk the earth. Now I could go on and on with those stories, but my point, and the reason why that I'm lingering on this first part of success, is because you cannot cheat the process. You have to dedicate time to mastering your craft. I meet people all the time, and 1 month they're trying this, and then 3 or 4 months later they're doing something else, or they have this business and they have that business and all of these things going on, but they have mastered none of them. And when it comes to success, you have to master something. If you needed heart surgery and you had two choices, one was to go to a general surgeon and the other was to go to this heart surgeon who had specialized in a specific type of surgery that you needed, and he's done it over the past 20 years successfully. Which one would you choose? And the answer to that is obvious. You would choose the specialized heart surgeon. Because he's the one that can save your life. And in order for him to do that, not only did he have to go to undergraduate, he also had to go to medical school. Then he had to go to residency. Then he had to take a fellowship. Then he had to do another fellowship or an internship. It took him years and decades to perfect his profession so that he mastered that one specific type of surgery that you need to save your life. He put in time. And that time has translated into value. And now he can charge $100,000 per surgery because of that time that he's invested into himself, making himself an asset. You cannot cheat the process of time. If you want to master something, you have to dedicate years to the craft to perfect it. I don't care if it's public speaking. I don't care if it's selling. I don't care if it's building things. You cannot cheat the process. And the first step in the ticket to success is how much time are you willing to dedicate to mastering something? The next part of the ticket to success is intensity. How intense are your efforts to do what you're doing? Are you giving it everything that you have, or are you just going through the motions? There is a difference between jogging and sprinting. They're both running, but one requires more energy, more effort, more intensity, more use of your muscles. It tires you faster. Are you jogging or are you sprinting? What is the level of intensity that you are giving your craft, that you're giving your life? Are you just going through the motions? Are you just jogging through it? Or are you giving it everything that you have? How intense are you? Be honest with yourself. Are you giving it everything that you have? Are you just doing it just to say that you tried? Are you jogging or are you sprinting? Intensity is a requirement for success. Not only do you need to dedicate time, not only do you need to be intense, but the third part of the ticket to success is concentration. Are you focused? It's easy to be unfocused in this world. There's so much to watch on TV. We have social media, we got Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We have YouTube videos in the background. We have our kids running around. There's so many distractions to keep us away from concentrating on the thing that we are trying to become. And so my question is, how focused are you? How focused are you? Are you allowing those distractions to take away your focus and your concentration? Or are you lasered in on getting to the next level? You know, I say all the time that nothing can be productive in a place of comfort. You cannot be productive and comfortable at the same time. And so in order for you to produce, in order for you to be productive, to make something happen, you have to come out of the zone of comfort. You know, when I used to try and study for a test and I was being lazy, I would say, you know what? I have my study guide. I have my notes. I'm going to just study right here in the bed. And within about 5 or 10 minutes of me trying to study for a test in the bed, I was knocked out asleep. And that's because you cannot be productive and comfortable at the same time. You cannot produce anything in a place that you feel most comfortable. You cannot study in the bed. You have to take yourself out of that comfort zone. You have to go sit at the kitchen table. You have to go to the library. You have to put yourself in an uncomfortable position so that you can concentrate and focus. You cannot be productive and comfortable at the same time. Turn off the television. Turn off the social media. Turn off all of the distractions and concentrate. Take yourself out of that zone of comfort so that you can focus on the things that you need to do to change your life. Concentration. Not only do you need time, not only do you need intensity, not only do you need concentration, you need knowledge. Always seek wisdom and knowledge. Always seek information. Never believe that you have all of the information required to get to the next level in life. You need to always be asking questions. You need to always be seeking knowledge, seeking truth. And there are two ways that you can do that. You do that by seeking information, and you do that by seeking experience. You need to see it and you need to live it. You need to always be in a constant state of motion, of trying to know more, of trying to find out more. Questions beget knowledge, begets more questions. The more you know, the more questions you have. That's how you grow. But you have to always be seeking wisdom. Wisdom is knowledge and application. You have to know the information and you have to understand how to live it, how to apply it. It is a requirement for success. Today's information is not good enough for tomorrow's success. You need to know more. What you know today is not enough to get you to the next level in life. You need to know more. What you went through thus far is not enough to get you to the next level in life. You need to go through something else. You need to always be seeking knowledge. We have time. We have intensity. We have concentration. We have knowledge. This is a tough one. You need emotional control. You got to control your emotions. You have to control your emotions. Life is tough. It's always going to be something that doesn't go our way. Failure is always on the horizon. There are always people that are going to let us down or betray us. In the midst of all of that, you have to control your emotions. When you have no control over your emotions, you put yourself in a position of destruction. 10 seconds of losing control of your emotions can destroy your life forever. You have to be able to control your emotions. I'm not saying do not have emotions. I'm saying you have to consciously control them. You have to control your anger. You have to control your disappointment. You have to control your sadness. You have to control your laziness. You have to control your emotions. It's just that simple. Your life depends on emotional control. You put yourself in all types of unnecessary situations and circumstances. You say things that you can never take back because you have no control over your emotions. On the flip side of that, you have to control the excitement and the enthusiasm and the happiness. I'm not saying don't be excited. Don't be enthusiastic. Don't be happy. But when you do have successes, you have to maintain a certain level of humility about it. You can't believe that your successes are only attributable to yourself. You have to understand and be thankful and remain humble, even in the midst of success. That's emotional control. You got to control your emotions. You can put all the time in. You can be intense. You can concentrate. You can seek all of the knowledge that you want. But if you cannot control your emotions in the midst of success and failure, you can destroy your progress. I know what they said was bad, but you don't have to respond. I know what they did was foul, but you don't have to retaliate. Control your emotions. Think about the consequences. Consider and contemplate your next moves. When you don't control your emotions, you are saying that you can be controlled by your emotions. And that's a recipe for disaster. Time, intensity, concentration, knowledge, emotional control. And the last part of the ticket to success is trust. You have to trust the process. You have to trust your behaviors. You have to trust that you did the things necessary to get you to where you want to be. Faith. You have to trust and believe that you've put yourself in a position to acquire all of the things that you've prayed for. And now you have to trust your prayers. You have to trust the process. Even if the world doesn't see it yet. Even if that success has not happened yet. Even if your level has not been reached yet. See, you can control all of these things. You can control how much effort you put in. You can control your level of intensity. You can control the amount of time that you put into something. You can control the knowledge that you seek. You can control your emotions. But you cannot trust God's time. You cannot control God's timing. So you have to trust the process. Some people see results immediately, but most people quit before they see the results necessary to get them to where they're trying to be because they don't trust the process. You can control planting the seed. You can control how you cultivate the ground. You can control how you water and nurture that plant, that tree. But you cannot control the speed in which the stems grow. You cannot control the season in which that tree bears fruit. That's out of your hands. So the only thing that you can do is trust the process. Trust that you have done the things necessary to put you in a position to take your life to where you want to be. After that, it's up to God. It's up to His timing. The fruit will bear itself once you've done the work. You just have to trust the process. I hope this is helping somebody. I hope this is helping somebody figure out where you are lacking, what you need to add, what you need to change, what you need to be doing in your life. We all want to be successful, But are we willing to put the time in necessary? Not over a short amount of time, but over years. Are we willing to dedicate our life? Are we willing to put a certain level of intensity? Are we sprinting or jogging? Are we concentrating or are we distracted by the world? Are we always seeking knowledge, both in information and experience? Do we control our emotions? And if so, do we trust the process? The ticket to success. My name is JD Garnier, and this is Walking in Wealth. Have a blessed week.